got the keys to my blood clot bimmer, big time driller, monkey to gorilla. Who is this woman that I'm seeing in the mirror? Drink 42 and smoke cigar. Name one time where I didn't deliver. Silent figure. I was just on the ends, jocking gems with my friends. I got a 33 pen and a pack of blems. Then gotta go full black, circle back again. Rapping when nothing progressive was happening. Ooh, pain tolerance couldn't break us. Pay homage if you respect. Trying to get to the paper. Hit her from Jamaica, might do me a favor. True. Big simmer, dipping 10 toes in the ice cold river. Bank got bigger, in a different species. Tunes in the locker, been waiting to unleash these. It's a no-show if you can't guarantee fees. I ain't got one threat to consider. Heaven and earth attached to one pillar. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. New Sims dropped to shake the whole shit up. What's next? We'll be here for months talking about prospects. Staying on my job, yes sir. And rain is against her. I'm ever resistant on my polyester. Run through the jungle, they should have never let her. Cuts and wounds, I hope never will fester. Yeah, big art collector, silent investor, film director. Beating on my chest, going ape shit, putting in a grave shit.
Going on, everybody? Welcome to the Betting News Network. Excited to have you with us on this beautiful Thursday, draft day. Johnny Manziel, NFL draft, rocking and rolling tonight. We're going to be talking about it all with you guys. And we got the offs continuing, the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs, rocking and rolling. Welcome to your afternoon BETSPRESSO. That's just Sook. My name is Sweatpants Jesus. Stoked to have you guys here for 2 hours live right here on the network. An hour with us, talking about everything in the sports world this evening. And then after us, getting off the bump with Danny Burke and Adam Kaufman, talking everything on the diamond this evening. 2 hours live right here on the channel. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Brought to you by our sponsors at Lucky Rebel. We appreciate all you guys being here and sticking around with us. Get that QR code. Get some funds dropped into your account for so much you're going to bet and so much more tonight. We appreciate you being here. Mr. Brar, how we living?
Living good, man. We're eating good. We got playoffs, and honestly, I'm very, very happy about this. The Ducks. Let's go. Absolutely generational hater right here of the Edmonton Oilers, as you can see up there. That is why. So I got fed well last night, even though shout out to my wife's grandmother who passed away this week. So we've had a little bit of a rough week, but Connor McDavid catching an L definitely put a smile on my face.
Yeah, sending vibes to your family. Obviously, we've talked a lot over the last few days, but chat, there you go. Sook has been dealing with some family stuff, so send vibes to Mr. Brar. Crazy how it's all kind of been happening to all of us. Yes, we will talk about this, but let me give a bit of news. We got a huge show for you guys today. We got a little bit of news. We're going to... Huge. Massive. We got PJ Glasser waiting in the shadows to come and drop some information for you guys on the draft. We will be talking a little bit about what we're going to see tonight in Pittsburgh. He's also got a couple plays in the NBA, which Sook and I will bounce off of. We will talk some news in the NBA. We'll talk through the 3 games we're going to see tonight in the association as the playoffs are continuing to rock and roll this evening. We'll maybe have a sprinkle of Chef T in here. Don't know if Chef's going to join us or not, but we hope that Chef will be able to make it as per usual. We might have a Where in the World is Gretzky Betsky's, and he can give us his favorite plays on the ice, although I do have a couple plays that I like on the ice as well. And then we will cook the parlay. We got a lot to get to today. We'll also have the Rhythm play of the day from our friends at Rhythm on the Diamond. But if you want some more Diamond plays, the guys will be live directly after us for an hour, breaking down everything on the Diamond this evening. So sit back, relax, enjoy the vibes for the next 2 hours. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys so much. And yes, we are back on YouTube. Welcome back to the Boop Tube. Hope you guys enjoy us over on the Tube. If you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for being here on X, on Twitch, wherever you guys are consuming the Betting News Network, wherever you guys are hanging out with us. We really appreciate you guys watching us and kicking it, because you're going to get a lot of fun rants today from both of us, most likely, about quite a few different things. But to not leave PJ sitting too long in the shadows, I'm just going to rattle off a few pieces of news that came out today. I'll save the big piece of news about the Suns and the Thunder until we get after PJ leaves us, loves us, and leaves us. But first thing from that Thunder Suns game, Jalen Williams was diagnosed with a grade 1 hamstring strain today. He will be week to week for this team going forward. We'll talk about that a little bit later and how that might impact the series. Taylor Jenkins was announced as the Bucks head coach, former assistant coach in Milwaukee, and he will be the new head coach that will take over the reins in Milwaukee with Giannis, without Giannis. We'll find out. We're not going to spend any time on this, but Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, it looks like they done did it. Bad news bears in that situation. More news came out about that today. Not great. We've talked about it a bunch on the channel, so we won't go deep dive into that anymore, but it's not looking great for either one of those people. And
are Vrabel's these people sociopaths? Like, what is going on?
Dude, the pictures. First, one thing I got to say, and then we'll move past it. How does somebody have pictures from 2010 or 2020 that they've just been sitting on? Like, how do you imagine taking those pictures and just having them on the fucking, like, having them chilling in the background and just like waiting for this moment to have them ready to go?
That's like my worst fear with some of the guys we have in chat, like Stifler and Gerald. They definitely are sitting on some screenshots of us acting out
collecting skeletons. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But could you imagine that person's like taking pictures like, oh, I bet you these are gonna come out one day, or like, I don't know what. Like, that's crazy,
bro. The whole thing about her kid's name. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I don't want to go deeper into this because we've spent way too much time on the channel talking about it, but it just keeps getting worse and worse. Yes, blame me, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Last thing, and then we'll lead into us bringing up Mr. Glasser, who's lovely and should join us today on BETSPRESSO. The NFL draft kicks off tonight in Pittsburgh. The NFL is still lurking around the corner. Not just Mike Vrabel news. All teams are going to be picking college kids. Dreams are going to be realized this evening in Pittsburgh tonight. So without further ado, let's get Mr. Glasser up here to talk about it. Because Sook and I don't really have any deep thoughts about this. I can't wait to hear what PJ has to say. Unless Sook, do you have any deep thoughts? I got questions too. I got a few things to mention, but let's get PJ up here. What's up, Mr. Glasser? How we doing?
Fellas, happy draft day. I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Got your Ravens shirt on, ready to rock and roll. Excited to have you here. Go follow PJ on the timeline at PJ Glasser 9 for all of his various and sundry random things that he talks about across all sports and all the cool content that he has over there as well. Glad to have you back on the show, man. Kind of last minute. Appreciate you stepping in. But so we'll talk in NBA to kind of send you out, because then after that we'll kind of dive into these games tonight. But from the draft as a whole, I know you got a couple bets for us. I'm sure we've got some DJs in the chat that want to bet the draft. What are you looking forward to this evening? Which spots do you think are the most interesting, and what players are you looking out for tonight?
So I think Arizona is super intriguing at number 3, right? Because I think all this Jeremiah Love stuff personally is all a bunch of smokescreen. I think they want to trade the pick, and I think they're just throwing it out there, knowing that Tennessee's probably the play, your Titans SPJ. And I want to you like how you feel about that. I think it'd be a great pick for your Titans. I know number 4 for a back isn't ideal, but God, that guy is so good. So I just think it's all smokescreen from Arizona. And a lot of these analysts have come out and said that they think Arizona could take him at number 3. I just think it's kind of all a bunch of BS. I think they're just looking for a trade partner, somebody to jump the Titans. So I'm very intrigued by that. And then the player I'm most intrigued by is Caleb Downs, you guys, because I think this is a Kyle Hamilton 2.0 situation where if you just watch college football, you would see Caleb Downs as one of the best players in college football, just like Hamilton was when he was coming out of Notre Dame. And my Ravens were right there at 14, just waiting in the wings, and he just dropped right in their laps. And I think that could potentially happen for a team like Dallas tonight if they just sit back at number 12 or something like that. I think Love and Downs are the 2 best players in college football. Going back like the last decade, you guys, because as you know, I'm a Bama guy. And I was thinking, like, who are the defensive players under Saban that started as true freshmen? And the only ones that I could come up with were Pat Surtain, Will Anderson, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Caleb Downs. Those were the only 4 I could think of the last decade. Some pretty good company. So Caleb Downs, pretty good football player. He's gotten some pretty good comparisons. I think the fact that he could go outside like the top 10 tonight is crazy, but I'm very interested to see where he lands.
So to answer your question about Jeremiah Love, I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. I desperately want the Tennessee Titans to draft Jeremiah Love. I'm not super deep into college football, so I haven't gone deep dive into like the various picks and things like that. Obviously, I know that there's been talked about Ruben Bain, possibly if he's even there, if they're going to maybe go that direction. I know the middle linebacker from Ohio State has been kind of referenced possibly as somebody that might make an appearance for the Titans as well. But I just think that for me, especially with what I've seen as a Titans fan this long, with Derrick Henry being an incredible running back. I remember Eddie George when I was growing up. Obviously, there were some stretches before Henry took over where DeMarco Murray was a really good back for the Titans when he came over from the Cowboys. There's just always been a dominant running back, and this would be a totally different type of situation too, because as you mentioned, Love does have the running back abilities, but we've never had a running back that was a dual threat like a pass catcher, and I know Love can do some of that as well. You got to stack this roster around Cam Ward and see what you got with this guy. So for me, I'd be kind of disappointed if they don't walk out. If he's there at 4, if like he doesn't get picked before that, I'd be very disappointed if they don't go and snag him. And I think with Dayball there, I think they're going to take him if he's there and if he's available. So I'm with you. I like Love. That's my favorite pick for the Titans tonight.
And look, I don't have to tell you. I mean, whenever the Titans are good, it feels like they have an all-pro running back, right? Whether it's Eddie George, Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry. Like when the Titans
CJ.
are at their best, they got a dude at back. And Jeremiah Love he's really, really good. So I think that's the play. We'll see if Arizona ends up taking him, but I feel pretty good about Love going to the Titans at 4. I'm with you.
Let's go, man. So you got any questions for PJ before he kind of rattles through the bets he has for the draft tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about the bets, but PJ, what are my Buccaneers going to do? Smack dab right in the middle, and I'm hearing that they might trade, they might draft an older guy that's 25 years old to try to win now, but like, do you have any insight on what the Buccaneers are going to do in this draft?
So I didn't bet anything, you guys, this year with like what position any teams are going to draft, because I think we could have so many trades and that could just throw so many things off, right? And obviously there's a lot of indecision of what we're kind of going to get after Arizona. So you see all these mocks and like what people are projecting. I kind of think a bunch of these mocks could be out the window, and it's going to be like best player available for a lot of these teams. So Sook, I mean, I could see your Bucks going anywhere from like Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon, to, you know, getting a potential O lineman, getting somebody on defense. Obviously, they could really go all over the board. So I didn't take any of these teams, you know, to like draft any kind of position at any money, even if I thought it was good value. I think for your Bucks, though, personally, I think they should probably go on the defensive side of the ball is where I had a guess. I see in the chat here, somebody's asking Dylan Tiedemann, the safety out of Oregon, under 18.5. Like, I think that would be a good landing spot for your Bucks, right? Get somebody on the other side of Winfield, potentially. We know Bowles likes his secondary guys. So I think that could be a good landing spot, but I'm excited for this draft because I think there are going to be a lot of trades and it could cause a lot of chaos tonight.
Oh, I love trades. Let's go.
I think there's going to be quite a few. You talked about some of them. I mean, the Cardinals could get it all rocking and rolling. There's been some rumors that possibly Dallas might make some moves as well to possibly move up in the draft. I know that George Pickett's name has been thrown around on the timeline today. There's a draft day is always just full of a bunch of smoke screens, like you just mentioned. So we'll see which one of those end up playing out. All right, let's turn the page to the NBA, but just run through the 3 plays that you have on the draft board tonight, if you want to do some betting on the draft this evening.
Yeah, so Caleb Downs, we were talking about off the top. His draft position that I got was 9.5. I like the under there at plus 100. Because again, I think right when we get to the Giants at 5, I think there's a chance that maybe they take him with their first pick in the top 10. And then you got Washington there at 7. They could go there. And then you got the Saints at 8, Kansas City at 9. So you got a bunch of teams that I think could take a crack at down. So I like that value under 9.5 at even money. Jeremiah Love, we were just talking about, again, I think Tennessee's the play. And at the chance that I'm wrong and maybe Arizona, all this is true and they are going to get them, I like under 4.5. And then I like Carnell Tate over 7.5 at minus 118. I do think there's a chance he goes to Washington at 7, but the reason I like the bet is I think that's the only team that gets him, you know, in the top 7. Like, I don't think anybody else in that top 7. Cleveland, I don't think is going to get him. The Giants, I don't think are going to get him with that number 5 pick. So I really only see Washington as the only team that kind of makes sense that would go after him. And the fact that it's minus 118, I think that should be a little bit higher juice. So I thought that was good value on Carnell Tate. And I'm not even sure he's the first receiver off the board. It feels like there are some teams that could like Mekhi Lemon more, teams that like Tyson more. So I like the over 7.5 on Carnell Tate.
Let's go, dude. Well, you guys heard some stuff from PJ. It's going to be an awesome night tonight, whether you're tuning into the draft on the side screen, if you're watching basketball or hockey, whatever you're doing, you're going to be paying attention to whichever player your team drafts this evening. It obviously continues on into the weekend. If you want to get involved, also Eddie wrote an article at bettingnews.com. You guys can go kind of check out how he's looking at some of the first round plays. There's some other value that you can find across day 2 and day 3 as well. If you want to go check out that article at bettingnews.com for free, as always. All right, before we love you and leave you, dude, we'll turn the page from football. Let's talk some NBA. So I know you've got a couple bets for us on the spreads this evening. I know you got to get out of here shortly, but just overall, have you been enjoying watching the NBA playoffs get started here, man?
I have. It's obviously kind of sucks a little bit with all the injuries. Like, we want to see the Spurs with Wemby. We want to see him at full strength. You guys talked about the Jalen Williams injury off the top, but it's creating a lot more parity. Now, all of a sudden, Portland might be live in that series. I'm not saying that the Suns are going to beat OKC, but could you imagine if the Lakers win that series and all of a sudden, like, Luke and Reeves are back and then Williams could be at? So, like, that part of it's kind of crazy. I am enjoying it so far. And I think a bunch of these game threes that we have, especially two of the ones we have tonight. I mean, Nuggets, T-Wolves, and Knicks, Hawks should be terrific games. I think Cavs, Raptors is going to be really, really good too.
All right, man. Well, I know you got a couple spreads for us. Start us off with the Hawks down in ATL, looking to build off of the momentum we saw in Game 2, taking them down the stretch, obviously, and getting the job done in the fourth quarter, evening out that series. What do you like tonight in ATL?
So I think the Knicks and the Hawks series before it started reminded me a lot of the Knicks Pistons first round series from last year, where it was a 3-6 matchup. The Pistons were kind of this up and coming team. They had kind of that next superstar in Cade Cunningham with some veteran pieces around them. And they went into MSG and they got a split in the first 2 games. And then the Knicks went to Detroit and they won games 3 and games 4. And you look at how this series has played out so far. The Knicks have probably been the better team, I think, for 7 of the 8 quarters. Pretty comfortable in game 1. Obviously, game 2, it got away from them. That's what the Knicks do, man. They have like a game or two like that in the postseason. It feels like every year. We all remember the Pacers game from last season. This is what happens, though, when it's the Knicks, is when they collapse, it just gets overblown because it's New York media and all that sorts of things. I think if this was kind of anybody else, like the Spurs had a crazy collapse against the Blazers, or any of us talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. But the Knicks have a crazy collapse and all of a sudden, like, the world is ending. I think getting them at like a pick 'em tonight is good value. And then the other bet that I like the Raptors tonight as home dogs +3 against Cleveland. The Cavs in this Donovan Mitchell era, their home and road splits in the postseason are just crazy. They're a team that you want to bet at home and you want to fade them on the road. Orlando's kind of the same type of team. I know they won game 1 in Detroit, but in this Paolo era, the last few years, I mean, just look at the playing game. Go on the road against Philly, they lose by double digits. Come back home against Charlotte, they beat them by 30. Like, the Cavs are the same type of team. Good at home, struggle on the road. And I think all of us know as basketball fans, like, Toronto's one of the more underrated home environments in the NBA for postseason. Really tough building to win in. And with their season on the line, being down 0-2, I thought they played a lot better in game 2. Game 1, with all that kind of inexperience, trying to get their legs underneath them. Game 2, I thought they looked a lot better. I expect them to play well tonight. So I like the Knicks money line. I like the Raptors +3, but I think Toronto wins that game.
Let's go, man.
I'd love to hear it.
I know, dude. I know. Real quick before we love you and leave you, any thoughts on the Wolves and the Nuggies game? I know you didn't send in us any bets for that one, but what do you think about that one?
So, full disclosure, fellas, I bet the Nuggets to win the West. I think the Nuggets win the NBA title. I'm very nervous, though, about this series. My thought with the Nuggets, obviously, they were so hot going into the postseason, winners of 12 straight. The offense was great. Murray's playing as good as he ever has. Jokic is looking like Jokic. But you're looking for the team that can beat OKC. And last year, the teams that gave OKC the biggest issue were the offensive juggernauts. It was this Denver team that took them to 7 and Indy that took them to 7. Well, who's the best offense in the NBA? It's Denver. I thought if Denver could get past Minnesota, the Spurs, I understand, are really good. Now with the Wemby concussion, that could be interesting. But look, the Wolves, I mean, these series are always battles. I think it's going to be 2-2 going back to Denver for game 5, which is why I didn't bet this game tonight. And I'm going to take whoever loses to win in game 4. That's just kind of how I feel. I think it should be an awesome game, but I'm obviously high on Denver. So I got some futures on them, and just hope they can figure it out. The defense worries you, but if you're looking for futures, you're obviously looking for the team that can beat the Thunder, because that's the team you're trying to go through. And when you have the best player in the world and an offense as good as theirs, I think that's probably the team that I would look at. So I like Denver in the futures markets, but no play in game 3 tonight.
All right. We'll dive into that one a little bit deeper after we get you out of here. Since chat's asking, any props you like in the Raptors game since you're leaning with the Raps?
No props tonight for me in any of the games really tonight, to be honest with you guys. I got so much money tied up in the draft props, and then we got NBA.
You dirty
Stanley
dog.
Cups.
You're like, I've got so many money in the draft. I can't
we gotta go a little easy on the props. Since Sook is wearing a Boston hat, though, I will tell you guys and the listeners, I love Boston tomorrow night. Sook, I mean, you know how the Celtics are. We do this every year. They play with their food. They're big series favorites. They drop a game at home they're not supposed to. Then we start wondering, are the Celtics as good as we think they are? Are the other team going to make this a series? They always show up in game 3. They always do. They're great in these spots. So
it makes no sense. But I was talking about Vsauce. I was talking with Vsauce about this. It makes no sense. Why are we always dropping game 2s? It's very, very frustrating.
They always do it. We obviously remember the Miami series when they nearly, came back from 0-3, but they do this all the time where they lose games at home as big favorites. With as many threes as they shoot, you get the high variance, but man, I feel like in the last 4 years, I get Boston in this spot, and I always bet them, and they always come through. So riding again with them on tomorrow night against Philly.
Let's go.
Yep.
You know how to butter your biscuit, big dog, coming in here with some Celtics love right before you get out of here. Not your first time. Well, good to have you, man. Thanks for stopping by and giving us some plays. Obviously, go follow PJ, guys, if you're not already, at PJ Glasser9 on the timeline. We'll have him back very soon. And thanks a lot for spending some time with us today, big dog. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you. Enjoy your evening. Enjoyed the draft. Hope you smack some bets, and hope the love goes to the Titans. Let's go.
You boys as well. Yeah, hopefully love goes to the Titans. Great sports night. Appreciate you boys having me. Talk soon.
Yes, sir. Take it easy, man. Take it easy. Awesome stuff. Yeah, he got hit with a let's go. Oh, no.
Oh, my God. How many times have I said let's go, even just on this one stream?
A lot. I say it quite a few times too, but I say it when appropriate, like in appropriate moments. You just apparently say it all the time.
I'm gonna have to retire the phrase.
Yeah, this is the same as the "I'm gonna derail us" thing.
Oh yeah, if you haven't noticed,
you've done a good job. I know you've done a good job with retiring that one. Great stuff with PJ there. All right, so we will have Chef possibly. We would definitely have Betsky. So Betsky will give us some moves that he likes in the NHL. Obviously, we have no idea where he's going to be joining us from as we're in the world, and Betsky returns on his beautiful Thursday. Let's talk hoops. We might have to kind of split this up a little bit. We've got plays throughout the slate this evening in the 3 games. We gotten really close the last couple of days too. Betsky and I missed by a leg on Tuesday. The BETSPRESSO lay also missed by a leg that day as well. The last lay that we also did was 3 for 4 too. So we're due today, so let's get after it. I want to do this in a way that like feels good and feels right.
There's no chance. I was even gonna say maybe take a deep breath and maybe align your chi, get your chakras right. Like I feel
good about it.
Okay.
Let's go. All right. So chat here, we're going to talk about what we saw last night in Oklahoma City. And chat, let us know what you guys think. It's a big talking point on NBA Twitter today. It's a big talking point in the NBA discourse. And so as a vehement defender of the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm very excited to hear your side of this and your take on what we saw last night in Oklahoma City. Because I watched this game and I would have turned it off in the third quarter had I not had to talk about it further with you today and cover the sport. And I know that I've jokingly at this point that this has become a thing where I just hate this team and it's become kind of a joke. And I respect the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they are a fantastic basketball team, and they were 100% deserving of winning a championship last year. So that is a little bit of a joke that we do on the channel. But last night was the first time, Suk, I watched that game from front to back and was absolutely disgusted watching that basketball game. Not only did you have, and I'll get to the refs in a minute, but this is a twofold problem for me. The refs are allowing the Oklahoma City Thunder to get away with this from start. And you've talked about this before. They set the tempo, they set the tone, and then the refs have to then adjust, which doesn't happen very often. So that's why they keep getting away with it. But last night, we saw things that I vehemently do not agree deserve to be in the game of basketball. Yes, I know that foul baiting exists in the NBA. All of our favorite players do it. We've discussed it at various stretches. It's just a part of the game now. You just have to live with it. But some of the stuff that we saw last night was so egregiously bad. And it's stuff that should have been called immediately, wasn't called, and then completely changed the tenure of the game. I know that eventually that the Suns ended up getting more whistles than the Oklahoma City Thunder. But if you watched that game front to back, the whistles that the Thunder were getting were just so mind-bogglingly bad. And then the ones that they weren't getting called on the other end was even worse. Some of the calls, yeah, you can kind of nitpick and go back and forth and kind of find the ones that were right and were wrong and do like that types of thing. But like the couple that I'm thinking of was when Shea did that crazy push off on Gillespie where he fell under the basket and the entire team kind of looked at the refs and was like, What are we doing? That one was awful. The technical foul on Devin Booker was one of the worst technicals I've ever seen. And it didn't help that Alex Caruso literally told him, hey, you should tee him up for throwing the ball at him. Like, what are we doing, James Williams? And then the third one, there's a bunch. The third one that was the most egregious to me was the Chet foul bait. On both of Chet's were really bad yesterday. The one where Colin Gillespie was guarding him, which I thought was an interesting decision that Jordan Knott made by the fact that they don't have a lot of big guys. So they kind of ran Gillespie out there to guard some of the bigs, which didn't play out in the win, but I guess it kind of was an interesting look. Got him to pump fake, and Chet just flailed into him. Good old SGA style. Not even close to a natural basketball play. And it was like, oh, we're calling that? Okay, that's gross. And then on the other end, Isadora was grabbing a rebound or trying to grab a rebound and boxing Chet out, and Chet just flailed like a little fish onto the ground. That's not basketball to me. And it was gross to watch. And I know that, again, the thing that I think always people get pissed off about this argument is that they go, oh, well, the Thunder are still awesome. And I'm not saying the Thunder aren't awesome. The Thunder are a fantastic basketball team. But as the graphic says, to me, this to me was, I drew the line in the sand a long time ago, but this was the line for me, bro. I don't want to watch this team. I don't want to watch this team. If they win a championship, whoop-de-fucking-do. Congratulations. I don't want to watch them play basketball anymore. They're no fun. They're no fun to watch. It's not a good product for me to watch.
I mean, I had to do a deep dive and catch up on all of this. And just to be honest, like, I love this team. I think that they're going to repeat, but what is going on here? Like, you can't be having this. And, I have my problems with Adam Silver, but at the end of the day, like, this looks bad for the league. And because I missed the game, the first I saw of it was Devin Booker at his press conference. He seemed very measured. He seemed very calm. He seemed like he knew what he was going to say, and he was willing to say it, despite the fact that it might bring on a fine or whatever comes down. But holy, rewatching all of that, that was insane to see. Like, you don't want that to be what a champion level team is doing every night. Like, the Thunder are up and they're yelling at the ref, and the ref is making the call they want him to make. It makes no sense. Like, at the end of the day, SGA does get fouled a lot. He wasn't the leader in free throws this year. Like, there's a lot of narrative that you could say on the other side, but watching that game back, watching those highlights back, it's finally gone too far. What are the refs doing here? Like, at the end of the day, you want to put out a good product, and that was a horrible product.
This has been my first, because your feelings in that specific environment is how I feel watching this team almost all the time, which is why I don't enjoy watching them play basketball. And it's unfortunate because, and we were talking about, you jokingly said that I was happy about the J. Will injury, which, never would hope injury for anybody. But I actually thought Jalen Williams was fun to watch. I thought he was playing great. He was not really doing the foul baiting stuff. He was just playing good basketball, getting to the hoop, looking electric. It's just, and this is my issue with SGA, dude. He's such a good player. He's so good when he's good, but like, he just gets so and it's probably because the fact he knows he can get away with it at this point. But that play where Dylan Brooks, SGA passed the ball and Dylan Brooks was like trying to like press him and like ran over to him and, he bumped into him. The guy looked like he got shot, bro. Like, there's no way. And it's not like it was and like, Brooks got fouled, and the foul got called, and Brooks was like, "Stand up, bro." I mean, they're Canadian, they're Canadian teammates,
Yeah, the ones I don't like at all, because like we talk about in the NBA, like, the rule is kind of the cylinder over the basket, the cylinder of a shooter. You got to protect their space, but like, a lot of the times, SGA almost is horizontal and is getting a call from the back. And that's where I'm just like, what is going on here? Like, if the dude is going to be diving, then like, we're not protecting his entire body. We can't be doing that, because if the offensive player is being absolutely reckless, and if you hit a reckless airborne player, that's so stupid. That's not even fun sports. It's getting so fucking messy. So at the end of the day, I just want to see the Thunder respond. I don't want to, because you're the same team that's mauling people on defense, and you're saying that's tone setting. But then at the other side of the basketball, you're flopping. So like, you're not tone setting then, because it's different on either side of the ball. So it's stupid to me. So like, I told you, this is the first time ever that I'm actually mad at this team and I don't like their attitude. And even to watch their press conference after, it just seems like they've anointed themselves so quick. They're talking and acting like they've won 3 chips. And it's just like, I love this team so much, but like now I want to see a response from them because all of the criticism just became justified.
That's big of you to say too, because you've been one of their staunchest defenders. And this is why I wanted to have this discussion with you today, because I've been on the other side of that, and we've had some, relative discourse about it. But again, to me, I was sitting there watching, and I was like, God, I would legit. I was like, I want to turn this game off, man. I don't want to watch this game anymore because it was disgusting.
You gotta be a dog on both sides of the ball. Like if you're gonna maul on defense, then play straight up on offense. Like don't start flopping there. Like that's so.
Well, Dylan Brooks. Watching Dylan Brooks, and again, respect to Dylan Brooks. I mean, he has obviously owned the Dylan the villain thing, and it's kind of become a thing. But like, respect to him the way he was playing, because he plays the same way on both ends. You know what you're getting with Brooks. I just feel like at this point that the Thunder are just like, oh, we're going to do this on this end, but not on this end, and maybe call it, and I don't know.
Yeah, dude. And like last point, because we got our absolute GOAT down there, but like, dude, like Devin Booker, 30% of his points come from the free throw line. Like he's being honest here in saying that, like, yo, I play the foul game as well. I know how it's done, but right now the whistle is unfair, and like, holy crap, it is. It is. Like, I can't argue against that at all.
For the way that he addressed it, and it got shared on socials. Good. I mean, Chad, I'm sure you guys all know what we're talking about. And if you don't, go watch us after we're done and check out all the different things we're talking about. But I thought the way that Booker said everything after the game showed the severity of the situation. Because as he said, in the 11 years he's been in the NBA, he's never once called out the officials, and in this particular press conference, called one out by name and said, you were terrible tonight, big dog. You sucked, and we need to fix this now because this is a trash product otherwise. He said what we were all thinking, basically.
Well, and Book's playing the game within the game. You do have to do this a little bit. So now he's going to have every single person, including me, like the Thunder apologists, going through and looking through all of this and going, well, goddamn, he's got a point.
Yep. That is. Then we'll get to Besky, who's waiting lovely in the. Look at him. Look at that guy. That's the whole point of this. I want to see now all the replays. I want to see all the moments. I want them to review that shit. I want them to call that shit, because that's the only way then it's going to probably change moving forward. And hopefully, like you said, in Game 3, we get a response back in the desert. Maybe things are a little different. Because if this series gets officiated the same way, if this team gets officiated the same way all the way to another championship, there's going to be some serious conversations going into the offseason about all that. I think there's already should be, but if that ends up happening, holy man. So, all right. I feel a little better. I've been sitting on that all day. Sat on it, almost slept when I slept last night. Woke up and felt the same way about it this morning. But
mine too.
Yeah. I'm glad we agree, at least in that regard, which I kind of had a feeling we were going to at least have that similar conversation about this as hoop heads. And chat, you guys seems like you feel the same way too. So, all right, let's find out where in the world Gretzky Betsky is, and then we will talk about the NBA games that we have in front of us tonight. But we got the NHL Yops rocking and rolling tonight as well. Betsky! Uh-oh, goats are muted. Goats are muted. Although, are you muted?
Hear me now.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, we got you.
Stupid earbuds. If you watch this show every week, you may remember way back, I think in like November, one of my first "Where in the World is Gretzky Betskys" was sitting right here in my gardens, and the plants looked a lot smaller back then than they do now.
You have a garden now,
so I figured, what's more relaxing than talking about some NHL player props while harvesting a little bit. So we'll see what we can find down here.
Harvest the green.
Beautiful red tomatoes. Little cherry tomatoes. So I'm gonna just kind of start pruning, get some of my harvest going, and we'll see how much I collect by the end of this. But other things I like to collect right now are those NHL player props during the playoffs, because man, the value on these players is just insane. So One that I love, and we were on this the other night, or we talked about it at least, is Pavel Zacha again. I mean, that point is catching. Well, it's just been 2 games, but catch both games. Tonight at home, it's a -120. I don't know. Buffalo looked a little out of sorts at game 2, and really, you could say they've only played like 2 good periods. I also really like Charlie McAvoy, the top defenseman for the Bees. He got a point on his the last game. His point is around -125 as well. You can stack those guys. I just think I like that value of that top defenseman who's going to be on the ice a lot to potentially get on the score sheet. So with limited action, give me guys who are going to be up and playing for big minutes. Man, I don't know what to think about that game though. Buffalo really, really needs to look sharp tonight. And it gives me the same pause as the Penguins Flyers last night, where you really thought Penguins had to put everything out there to get the dub. They did not. So I don't think I don't have the tomatoes instead of the plums to go on a side in that game right now. Look at this. We got the big old green onion right now. Ooh.
Oh, look at those spring
Doing pretty
onions.
good on the tomatoes. So actually,
yeah. Dude, if I was there with you right now, half of those would be gone.
I know.
Sucker for cherry tomatoes.
A lot of them are still green. So like you can see all these.
Oh yeah.
We got.
Dude.
Yeah, we got. I've already kind of harvested quite a bit already too, and the bugs are starting to get these, but we'll have a whole second batch soon too. Let's see. Oh yeah. Ottawa, Carolina. I think this game is the one I want to dabble in the most, though. So I think Brady has a big night. Been a little bit quiet. It took him till overtime to hit his shots on goal prop last game. He missed it game 1. Was very quiet game 1 outside of that first fight. Moved him back to the top line with Stützle and Batherson. So I think that top line's going to roll tonight. I think we're going to see more goals tonight. I kind of like Ottawa. I would especially be interested if you can get them live, either if it goes 0-0 within the first 5 minutes or so, or even if Carolina gets that first goal, you could get a little extra value on them. Stützle, Batherson, and Tkachuk point stacks looks great, or you can take Sanderson, who's been fantastic for Ottawa. His point looks really nice to stack with any of their top forwards. And again, yeah, Brady shots looks really good. On the other side of the ice, Shevnikov does not have a point in the playoffs so far, and he has historically crushed Ottawa. So give me Shevnikov point. I think that's a really nice look. It's like -140, so you could stack him with Aho or Jarvis, who I believe Jarvis is pointless as well. And then Stankoven, man. I mean, I don't know how you turn away from him right now. He has been electric. So I like his point. I like his shots. Take it any which way. Get stanky with it,
I mean, you're getting stanky and sweaty in the garden, so you might as well.
Exactly.
All right, last game. Before I'm sure you're gonna have to, get some like big old something, pull with both hands. But is this the night maybe the Kings finally get one?
Oh, they have been really impressive. I mean, I think you got to give them props where they're due. They may still get swept here, even if the score sheet and the games have been way tighter than anybody would have expected. But I feel like, if you want to go for that value tonight, I think it's not a terrible look. I don't know. I'm waiting for Colorado to explode. Maybe that's tonight. So I still have my reservations there. And maybe it's just partially being a Kings hater. Now we got some jalapenos.
Oh, spicy.
Make some salsa. Make some salsa tonight.
Some sexy pico with those tomatoes. Yeah. Oh, those are some nice. Wow. Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Take a bite.
Take a bite. No, don't ruin the jalapeno like that, fam.
But yeah, I'm going to go with Avs big dogs. Makar owes us one after the bucket. There's no way he's going pointless in 3. His shots have been a wagon too. His shot attempts are insane. So
It was
I
always
think we're
the
going to give
Sogs,
Makar
bro.
night. I know.
Betsky, honestly, chat, if you don't know, Kale McCarr was a minus 200 leg of our parlay that we needed on Tuesday to cash us. And we literally said, putting it in, we were like, damn, if this minus 200 leg sells this motherfucker. And lo and behold, I went to bed. I was like, I can't stay up any longer. I'm on Eastern time.
Yeah.
Like, it's like 1 a.m. I got to go. And I was like, surely in the third period, McCarr will sort us out.
I got so excited when I saw the OT goal. I was like, he has to be on it. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's not 3-on-3. So who knows?
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think if you like the Kings, I would get in on some Kings props too, because you're getting nice prices on those. So maybe ride the top line. Panarin's been pretty decent for them. So you could do like a Panarin, Kopitar stack, Panarin, Kempe stack. But yeah, it feels like the series just has not woken up yet. So I'm just a little hesitant to go too hard in there. But
you got any thoughts on the Oilers?
Look at Six face, Chad. Look at Six face.
I would not like to be an Edmonton fan right now. You gotta be a little scared. I thought Draisaitl being out would be their excuse for them losing, but here he is. He scored. He's shooting. It's not like he's playing
back
bad
games. Yeah.
Yep.
Like Jesus has been going ghost mode, which is crazy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Turnover last night. Oh my.
Yeah. Now, would you be shocked if he comes out and just destroys them next game? No, but
no.
I don't think they want this to be a series, and it's a series.
Sure is.
And I love that the Ducks are wearing their new jerseys, like the retro ones that look so good while they clap cheeks.
Yep.
It's gonna be an electric environment in Anaheim for Game 3 there for sure. All right, dude. Favorite? What's your favorite today? Do you have like one that you really love a lot for the parlay?
You know, I really, really like Brady shots. If you want to do like a Stützle Brady point stack too, that's fine. But I feel like Brady's got to wake up at home, and I think he got a little ignited at the end of the last game and getting that promotion to the top line. I think he's going to give it his all.
I thought you were going to go Stanky with it, but I'm down to roll with some Tkachuk.
No, I love Stanky. I'm just a little concerned with being on the road, maybe, but that's one I would like it to take as a straight. You can take it as a straight, so why not?
Sure. All right, bud. Well, good to see you. Also,
all right, here's the little
my favorite. Look at that.
A little harvest, not too bad. Yeah, we've got the Guardian shirt on. Extra veg.
That's one of my favorite shirts that you have as well.
Thank you.
Go show the chat one more time the harvest that you sowed.
Yeah, one more time. Maybe
look at that.
Maybe at the end of May we'll do our last harvest of the season before it becomes a hellhole here.
This is the only sports show where you got to see the planting of a garden and then the benefits of said planting.
The fruits of the labor.
The fruits of the labor, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, big dog. Appreciate you as always. Have a fantastic rest of your day and go enjoy your harvest.
All right, thank you. Yum yum. Bye.
Yum, yum. What a goat.
I know, man. He's the best, dude. There's Besky. He'll be back with me on Tuesday for Puckett. We'll break down more and more of the NHL playoffs. He'll have his coupon article out for you guys tomorrow on Friday to send you off into the weekend for some more plays, but he gave you all the moves right here on BETSPRESSO. Love to see it, man.
And I feel like it's got to be Brady because weirdly enough, last night I did have a talk with my father-in-law of like he doesn't like Tkachuk, the one that was on the Flames, and he's always hated him. But he admitted last night that he does like Brady. So having a conversation about Brady Tkachuk last night, maybe that's a good omen for him today. He's going to hit those sogs.
I love these situations, and Betsky and I talked about this on Tuesday. We saw a lot of these things similarly. That you got to ride either guys that are really hot throughout the series and just keep rolling with it until it's proven otherwise, or you got to find guys in spots that a little bit of the desperation mode's already set in, and you get in the Brady situation where they gotta win, otherwise they're gonna get the brooms out. So I have one play that Betsky didn't mention. He and I chatted about this earlier. This one's very chalky. So this is me going back to the well bet this both game 1 and game 2. It has smacked with ease in both games. Going straight back to it again. He's had 2 points in back-to-back games. If you want to take the over 1.5 points for almost 2-to-1 value, go for it. At home, I think Pasternak should continue to cruise. I like the minus 125 price for David to get an apple. But as Zabetsky mentioned, he likes Zaka too, which I also really like that one as well. So, all right, man. Let's do the rhythm play of the day on the diamond. Actually, you know what? Let's save that till the very end. Let's talk hoops, so we can kind of spend most of the show talking through what we like in the hoops, big dog.
Let's go.
PJ talked about the Hawks. Let's start there. Hawks taking on the Knicks. 1.5 point dogs are the Atlanta Hawks at home now as the series turns the page to Atlanta for 2 games. Series tied 1-1, 214.5 point total. CJ McCollum was fantastic in game 1, but also really spectacular in game 2. Overall thoughts? I have a prop that I like in this game a lot. What are you feeling about this one?
Oh man, I want the Hawks to get this done. This would be incredible. Overall thoughts just in the series is that the Knicks look vulnerable, and I think that there's an opportunity here. So no official plays for me in this one. The one that I did look at in circle is just nah. His PRA just feels like a comfortable spot. It's been missing a little bit. He hasn't been shooting the best, but maybe it's a get right spot at home. He's actually hit his 26.5 PRA in 4 of his last 5 home games. So he just missed it last against Cleveland. So I think that this might be a bounce back spot for Nah. Maybe the opposing side overreacts a little bit to CJ, and Nah finds himself a little bit open tonight.
You know what, dude? This is why I love you. The first thing I thought looking at this game was like, there's going to be so many people running to bet CJ, and this could be a big Nah night back at home. So I'm with you. I like it a lot. Didn't end up betting his points. His threes looks like a nice way to take it too. If you want to take the points, threes, or the PRA, like you mentioned as well. But as chat's kind of agreeing with you, I think it could be a big Nah night. I'm going back to this. Haven't bet it so far this series. But I don't see how this doesn't smack once again. Give me Josh Hart. Over 12.5 rebounds and assists, minus 115. He's hit this in the first 2 games of the series purely with rebounds, 6 and 5 assists in both games as well. But this is a common trend when he takes on the Atlanta Hawks. Didn't hit in the previous game at the end of April, but he's hitting 5 straight before that, taking on this team. He's going to be out there. Old Titty Milk is probably going to be titty milking. I just don't see a way that he's not going to be heavily involved in the offense. He's going to grab rebounds, offensive glass, probably, like I mentioned, double-digit rebounds in back-to-back games. If you want to just take the boards, go for it. But I like the facilitating 6 and 5 assists too. I think the 12.5 feels just a little bit too low. So maybe it's a landmine based on the fact that it's crushed the first 2, but I'm expecting him to have another big one tonight as well. So give me Josh Hart. Love the Nah angle. Really do like Big Purr too. Looked at Cat. But I think the Knicks win this game, and I hate it because I like the Hawks a lot. But I was looking at it going, man, do we really think that they're going to go down 2-1 on the road? Would it be surprising to me? Hell no, absolutely not. But I don't know. It just feels like a Knicks night.
Yeah, I see the vision with the play too, because 19 rebound chances in both games against Atlanta to open up this series, and Atlanta's actually 29th to rebounds allowed to the power forward spot. So, like you said, old Titty Milk should be splashing around a little bit today.
Swimming. All right.
I hate the Knicks so much. Even my wife watched that show where I just randomly lost my mind on the Knicks, and she was like, you never get that like weirdly biased like to go after the Knicks. And I don't know what it is. It's just like Josh Hart putting his finger in his butt and like all the stuff that's been going on. I'm just like, what is this team? We're taking this team seriously? Let's not take this fucking team seriously, please.
I think we can both agree that I would be flabbergasted if this team won a championship this year. Like, just flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I don't even know if they may not even win this series, much less get out of the second round. So, sorry to shit on the Knicks. They're probably going to win
like
tonight.
The same team. They got their ass busted by the Pacers. Like,
yeah. I think they're going to win tonight, though. I do think they get out there and they play good basketball tonight. We'll see if it matters, though.
And I do
all right, let's turn.
Look.
Nice. Thank you. I feel like Nah might have to find his way into our parlay, though. You like it? I was leaning really heavily with it. Chat, Oh, you know who? Our resident Knicks fan. Hey, we appreciate you still staying though. That's the important part. We might have to do Naw. Naw was a lover from chat. You liked it. I like it. We'll get back to it though. Let's go to your Canadian brothers, the Raps, looking to climb their way back into this series. I reposted this on the timeline? I don't have a chance to pull it up right now because we're going to run out of time. But the Amazon Prime visual for this game is. Are you seeing it right now?
I'm trying to find it. Yeah.
Holy man. Whew. It's incredible. Raptors 2.5-point dogs. PJ talked about the 3.5. That line has moved to 2.5 now. Cavaliers 2.5-point favorites. 221.5-point total. Are you ready for the grossest play of the day, Sook?
Oh, give it to me.
Close your eyes, chat. Close your ears. Don't bet this with me because he is the bozoiest of bozos. I'm going back, man. I can't not do it. I got to take Brandon Ingram over 19.5 points.
Oh, my God.
Minus 140. You could pay if you want to, don't pay the juice, take the 20.5. But this guy owes me so much coin. I'd rather just cash a bet on him, please, and thank you. This is my last go, dude. This is my last chance, possibly. If they lose this game at home, if he plays like shit, they're going to get swept, and I don't care about this team anymore. He has to play better. He has to shoot the ball better. It's been a gross to watch. If you think the Raptors are going to get anywhere close to winning this game, yes, CMB is probably the play. Yes, RJ Barrett has been fantastic. But I looked at it and I was like, God damn it. BI owes me money. And I want it. I want my money. It's my money and I want it now. So I'm taking Brandon Ingram, 19.5 points. Chad, don't tell me. Don't do it. Unless you feel the same way, then let's rock and roll with BI.
That's so funny. You're doing the exact same thing you did last game, and I'm also doing the exact same thing
Glory.
I did last game. I'm going with CMB PRA once again, and I'm going with RJ Barrett PRA once again. Set it and forget it. They've both been the lone bright spots for this team. Jakob Poeltl is absolutely washed. Brandon Ingram desperately wants back in the United States. He doesn't want to be north of the border anymore. So I see the vision there because I do think that Brandon Ingram is a hooper. So I don't think he wants this perception to build that he's quitting on this team. So maybe he finally bounces back here. But that's really funny. You're going back to your well. I'm going back to my well. Hopefully we're both not left thirsty.
The funny thing is I looked at my well and then I went and tried to dabble in your well. And then I looked back at my well, like I was the meme. I was the guy holding your well's hand. And I looked back at my Brandon Ingram well, like, ooh, I got to go there. I must.
Well, just because we're talking about our wells, the well that I have today is like, I do have a parlay that I put in of all Canadians. I had Na PRA, Jamal PRA, we'll get there, and RJ Barrett PRA.
Probably got a good number on that Jamal play because breaking news, Aaron Gordon is out of the game for the Nuggies taking on the T-Wolves. We'll get to that game in just a second. Do you agree if Raps lose this game outright that this series is cooked? I think the series is already cooked, but if they don't win this game, they're going to get swept, I think.
I think the series is cooked, but I think that this game, because like PJ kind of alluded to, this is a large market with an intense arena, intense fan base, sure. Intense media. So I do think that no matter what, all of these players know, win, lose, or draw, whatever happens tonight, you need to probably put a stamp on it for whatever way you want to do it, because at the end of the day, this Raptors team, like the Magic, they have a high payroll and they did not do well in the East. So a lot of these East teams with high payroll are going to shed salary come this offseason. So I like your Ingram play because Ingram's going to get tossed aside if he does not play well for the rest of the series.
I'm doing this for the clippability of the show afterwards if this ends up happening. So this is why. Otherwise, you guys will never see this ever again. I'm laddering Brandon Ingram to 30 points tonight. 25, 30, all the way to the moon. Because I don't want to be not involved after chasing it for 2 games if he gets out there and hoops tonight. So there you go. If Brandon Ingram has a 30-piece tonight, you heard it here first.
And just because we're talking about the 6, have you been keeping up with this whole drama with Drake's album, the Iceman stuff?
No, we don't have time. We got 5 minutes. So, nope. We'll talk about this with V tomorrow on Sauce Team.
All right.
See, chat. It'll be Bezos or Bozos. You guys can someone can clip this and post my face on it with the clown thing if he has a terrible game, which will happen once again, or not. Last game suck, and then we'll cook because I can't believe we just have too much fun on this show. Nuggies taking on the T-Wolves. As chat just mentioned, Aaron Gordon out of this game. Let's see how much the line moved. 1.5-point dogs are the Timberwolves at home. I think that's still live. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong there. 231.5-point total. Jaden McDaniels was famous in what he said last game. Basically called this entire roster barbecue chicken on defense. We're going to see if that happens once again tonight. I'm going to lead us off, bro. I bet guys today that I don't like betting, and that is never fun. I kind of went away from my goats, and that could be a mistake. But I really like this play. I'm taking Julius. Over 11.5 rebounds and assists, -135. Ant-Man's been awesome on the glass and facilitating. But if you look at the trends, when the Timberwolves play at home, Julius Randle does a lot better rebounding and facilitating as a part of the offense, and Ant-Man does a bit more of the scoring. On the road, it kind of flip-flops a little bit depending on where you're going. But this is also about this healthy hit rate that this has against the Nuggies. 4 of the last 5 games he's played against the Nuggets. This is smacked. Did a good job on the glass, obviously, in game 2, 9 boards, 6 assists. If you want to just take the rebounds, that has cashed with ease against the Nuggets consistently. But I like roping in the assist. The assist line is hitting 3 of his last 4 games against the Nuggets as well. Big Randle night tonight. I'm betting on dudes that you guys go ew when you bet on these guys. Julius Randle and BI. But yeah, I really like Randle tonight. I like his RA a bunch. What do you like in this game?
I have a decent amount that I like in this game. I do like Bruce Brown's PRA once again, but what I really want to talk about is I had Jamal Murray over 37.5 PRA. I'm looking right now, that line has jumped to 40, 41 at some places. So I got a good number because I got it before the injury news came out. But funny thing is, I'm betting something. I put a whole unit on it. It's plus money. It's never hit against the Timberwolves ever, but it's just basically completely narrative based. So DB down there in the basement, cover your ears. This is 100% narrative based. This line has never hit. He's never hit this line ever against the Timberwolves. But McDaniels was talking his smack, so I'm going to take Jamal for 2 stocks today. I do think that Jamal Murray is an underrated defender and an active defender. So if you're going to talk your smack, you might end up with a Jamal 50 piece on your head, and maybe I can get some plus money action on the stocks. So I'm all over the Canadians today. So I'm either going to be drizzled in maple syrup or very, very sad.
You're either going to be drizzled in maple syrup in a good way, or like the gross when it dries and you're feeling all sticky and just like, yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we made it through. Who do you think wins this game before we cook?
Oh, I think Jokic masterclass and they get punched in the mouth.
I agree. That's why I'm regretting. I'll probably end up betting Jokic before the night's over. But like, I think Jokic is going to get out there and say, "You said what?" and just.
And we saw how aggressive he was in the second half of that game, only 6 points at half. I texted you that I bet the 30 piece. He almost got there. And I think that when he watches back the game film, he's going to realize that I do think Rudy Gobert is an all-world defender, not to go back to that term, but he is all-world. But at the end of the day, you have to tucker him out. So Jokic should go after him. And I think that's the only way you can respond.
The SGA all-world defender take is feeling a little different today. But yeah, here we go, Beast McNeese. Okay, let's cook because Danny don't go anywhere in the chat. Another hour on the diamond with DB and Adam Kaufman giving you guys the moves with what's going to happen off the bump. Excited to hear what those lads have to say as well. Hey, thanks, Neffs the Unk Pops, for sharing the stream. Let's go. Appreciate you. Okay. Spetsky said he wanted to do Brady Soggs, right?
Yeah, 3 or 4?
4. I'm pretty sure the line's 4. Let me just check. I'm sure it's 3.5. Yeah, 3.5. Okay. Oh, Embiid, don't tempt Sook with a good time. Don't tempt Sook with a good time. I would include the baseball in here from Rhythm, but it starts here in like 10 minutes. So we'll leave it out. It's the Red Sox plus 1.5. Danny and Adam will talk about that game momentarily. Look at Mr. Kaufman. Ooh, he's got a little bit of a tan on. Let's go.
He's Batman.
I'm Batman. Okay. You want to do heart? No, let's do gnaw. I'm going to just decide. Let's just do gnaw.
Okay.
Chad will dig that. And then we don't have to overthink it. Do you just want to do the points or do you want to do the PRA?
I like
Points
PRA.
is nice. Okay. PRA for Nikhil Alexander Walker, 26.5. Okay.
Where are you going to go next?
We ain't putting BI in here. Chad will write it.
You said you were deciding, so decide.
What do you like?
I mean, I like CMB. Keep it simple. 18.5 PRA. I think that he plays minutes no matter what.
Let's see if we can bet that everywhere. $17.5.
Better number.
PRA for Murray Boyles. Love it. And then take us home and tuck us in. Should we just do Joker?
Points?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's up
to 30?
It's up to 30.5.
Why don't we do the PA?
Where's V with the PR? His love of that play is so funny because the best facilitator in the game. Let's just not take the assist too.
Just because we're talking about it. It's really funny. The books do think that the stock lines, like the Nuggets, are going to respond. They jacked up Joker's stocks to 2.5 for plus money, so they think that these guys are going to respond.
Yeah, let's just take his points to 30. Let's just take 30. All right, 30 points for Jokic. Betty 4 plus 1,000. Hey, we did it. Brady Tkachuk, 4 shots. Nikhil Alexander Walker, 27 PRA. Colin Murray Boyles. We got 2 hyphens in there. 17.5 PRA and Nikola Jokic for a 30 piece. Big bong. Feels good, Sook. I feel like we actually cooked it on the show without our predetermined plays in association. I like that. All right, there you go. There's the Betty 4. We will post that on the timeline at Your Betting News. But as I said, don't go anywhere because you guys are about to get off the bump with these 2 beautiful lads down below to talk all about everything that's going to happen on the diamond this evening. Sook, you got anything else for the kids before we pass it off to these lads?
No, stick around, chat, and get educated on some baseball from Batman.
I'm Batman. Absolutely love to see it. Let me find the button I need to press here. You guys ready down there? Let's go. Appreciate you guys tuning in, chat. Stick around. Enjoy the next hour with Danny Burke and Adam Kaufman. Off the bump.
Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. It is another edition of Off the Bump here on the Betting News Network. Danny Burke alongside Adam Kaufman. We were absent last week, both of us on vacation. One of us apparently spent more time in the sun than the other, or maybe it's my fair Irish skin that doesn't treat me well. But Adam, you are glowing, my friend. Where did you, or you were you in the islands? Is that what it was?
Yeah, U.S. Virgin Islands. I was out in St. John for a week, which was lovely. I probably sound a little lesser than. I came back with a nasty cold, which, look, I'm still having a better day than Diana Versini or Mike Vrabel, but I got to tell you, I'm not feeling awesome. So we're going to see how this one goes over the course of the next hour, yapping here with you. But it is wonderful to be back with you, and I have missed you all at the network really a great deal. Too much, honestly. I think I've missed all of you too much for only a 1-week absence.
Oh, likewise, brother. Good to have you back. And yeah, hopefully you get back in good spirits soon enough. See, my first thought was just you were hungover from just being on an island. But then I was like, he probably went there with his family. So I'm sure it was not as much having to do with staying out late and partying as much as just the overall grind of traveling. Because there's been a couple trips for you now. You guys are turning
I got to tell you, too. So this was, kind of an extended trip. It was my family of 5 and then my in-laws and brother-in-law, so there are 8 of us, and my 13-year-old thought, hey, some people like to consume some alcohol on this trip. They're in the islands, they're living their life. I'm just gonna keep a little notes document or whatever you call that on my phone, and I'm gonna keep tabs of the drink tallies, and I'm gonna let people know exactly what they've been consuming on a day-to-day basis. I pulled him aside. I'm like, buddy, What are you, their sponsor? Like, you gotta
what are you, narc?
Yeah,
Take it easy.
gotta relax a little bit. Let them have their fun. If they wanted to know how many they were drinking, they wouldn't be doing it. Let them have themselves a good time. So yeah, that was some fun. But yeah, it was good to get away. It was fun. Obviously, for anyone out there that hasn't had the opportunity to visit the Virgin Islands, be it U.S. or British Virgin Islands, I mean, just gorgeous. I mean, it's the scenery more than it is anything else. But much like probably anyone coming off of a vacation, it's just nice to be home and back into your place and into your routine of things. And it's also, like, I'm going to sound like I'm complaining or something like that, so I don't mean to do that. But it's such a remote place to go, and it's so excuse me, like, just, different than even like when, the two of us and SPJ went to, Super Bowl Media Week out in San Francisco in the Bay Area. Like, you're still like, you're in the continental US. You still got like everything in at your disposal in short walking distance. And so, like, you go to the islands and things are not as readily available for you. So it's a different type of trip is all I'm saying, but a lovely, lovely place to go. And if anyone hasn't had the opportunity, I would encourage it. Take over an Embiid list that I do give off Batman vibes, which is probably the nicest thing that anyone in this chat has ever said to me. So thank you.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, the islands are great. I've been to both St. John, St. Thomas, St. Martin. I mean, they're beautiful. And I know you were hanging out around Trunk Bay, just a magnificent beach, and certainly envious of your trip. And I do want to move on really quickly, just because I want to get your thoughts on this Red Sox game really quick. Now, first pitch is about in a few minutes. We'll probably go a couple minutes even deeper than that. But this is a really impressive matchup potentially on the bump for both of these pitchers. Yankees wise, you got Cam Schindler, and he has been terrific this year, Adam. I mean, his numbers are outstanding. 5 starts, 195 ERA. FIP is below 1, almost a 50% ground ball rate. Tremendous arm. On the other side, now you have Peyton Tolley, the southpaw, who last year did make an appearance. We were just talking with our guy, Adam Rosenberg, who took him to win Rookie of the Year, thinking he's going to get in the rotation consistently, and at about 60-1 potentially presents great value. Solid AAA numbers. Southpaw coming up against a really hot Yankees team that's not only looking to sweep this series, but win 6 straight. Yankees are favorite, pretty steep from -140 to -150. Man, I was tempted to look toward your Red Sox here just based on the value and getting that momentum with Tolley and facing a sweep. But I feel like you're on the system play here, man. So you got to fade all this momentum with Tolley and going against your guys, which I know you don't love doing, but perhaps it works in your favor tonight.
First off, fam in the chat, I heard Danny went to the Virgin Islands, and after he left, they were just the islands. Nice play. Look, this year we have not yet, as you said, seen Peyton Tolley in the majors. He has been down in the minors, AAA Worcester, 2-0 across 3 starts, a flat 3 ERA across 15 innings. The strikeout numbers have been rather robust. He has 19 in 15 frames, has allowed only 5 earned runs of the 8 overall, walked 4 guys. Generally speaking, the control has been good. Listen, here's how I decided to approach this game going into the day. And going into the day is the noteworthy way of putting that. So, as you noted, for anyone, joining us late, and I don't mean here in this show, I mean here, a few weeks into the baseball season, I do abide by system plays, and I will update you on how that's all going coming up here in just a little bit. But any teams that have won or lost at least 3 straight games, unless they're going head to head anyway, in a similar situation, I am blindly investing, not even paying attention to the pitching matchup, the odds, and it doesn't matter. None of it matters to me. I am blindly investing. And so as it relates to this game, before I even knew Peyton Tolley was pitching for the Red Sox, I already had a bet in on the Yankees because the Yankees are riding a winning streak of 5 or 6 games, whatever it is. And of course, I was on them yesterday as well. I am in on New York, not because I am rooting for the Yankees as a Red Sox fan, but because that is what the system dictates. And I am a slave to the system. I have not deviated in any way, shape, or form. That being said, one thing that I did do excuse me, just with a boost that I saw available on one of the books. There was an MLB specific parlay boost. You know, you had to put together at least 3 legs, and I had I think a max of $10 limit or something anyway. So it wasn't like I was going to be doing anything crazy, but those were instances where I said, okay, I'm going to go not necessarily against the system per se, but I'm going to go with just what my gut says. I'm going to go with, go with the heart plays, and I'll put those together. And if they go against the system, so be it. And I'll see if, one returns, versus the other. And if nothing else, one hedges out the other. So going into the day, I did a 3-leg parlay that had the Tigers, which came through late, had the Phillies, which almost came through, blew it, but the Cubs won, but the Cubs were a system play. So that's fine. That worked for me. And the Cubs were plus money, no less. So that was okay. And then the last leg was the Red Sox. So putting those 3 together, it was, I don't know, 7-1, maybe something like that. And I would have been perfectly happy, bringing that home as a nice way to profit in the face of losing both system plays. But now obviously that the parlay is dead, and happy to have the Cubs in pocket, rooting on, quietly, painfully internally rooting on the Yankees to, make it a nice 2-0 system day. But Peyton Tolley, to your point, I do think is a really good pitcher, good young pitcher who had some, intermediate success last year. Really strong start opposite Paul Skeens in his first one, and then, struggled a little bit from there, went to the bullpen, was okay. But I think a lot of people were excited to see him in the rotation to start this year, but because they didn't want to use him in the bullpen, they decided, okay, let's keep him in the minors, let's stretch him out. We'll use him before long. I don't know if anyone expected that necessarily to be in April, but here he is trying to, unfortunately sort of play savior for a team that just can't get out of its own way.
Yeah, and again, maybe that's a spark that they need. Again, you still look at this roster and it's still April. You can't dig yourself too deep of a hole when you're in a very ferocious AL division there out in the East. But again, if there's a time to go, it's avoiding a sweep against your rival. It's getting the young southpaw in the mix. This could really jumpstart them. I know, obviously, from a wallet standpoint, you're rooting for the other side, but and then from the fan perspective, wouldn't be the worst thing to kind of counter that. But this will be a great game nonetheless. Should be getting underway right about now. Again, the Yankees were in the range of -140 and -150 favorite. Short total at 7.5. Wind blowing in a bit, left center field. A little bit colder out by you, huh? Just around 60 degrees.
Yeah, it's about that. It's not. I mean, look, it's not island warmth. I'll tell you that. But it's ballpark 55, 60. It's not bad.
Yeah, that was I came back when, you're already just dreading going back in the sense of, I'm coming back from a bachelor party, vacation, everything. You're hungover, and then it's like, all right, well, it was 80, 90 degrees. And I come back here and it was like back to 50 degrees. Makes no sense. Makes it so much worse. But now we're at least back into the 70s here in the Windy City. And like you said earlier today, Adam, we saw a thrilling game at Wrigley Field. Plenty of runs. Cubbies got the job done 8-7 over the Phillies. They sweep Philadelphia in 3 games. They took 2 out of 3 against them the other series as well, which is shocking to me. And not shocking in the sense that the Cubs are getting hot, because you and we talked about them. And I said, I imagined a slow start, but that the bats would pick up. Granted, I did think it would take a little bit later than this. But what's more surprising is that the Phillies just keep dropping these games. And, Christopher Sanchez looked abysmal today. 12 hits he gave up, 6 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs throughout 5.1 innings of work. Edward Cabrera, who, of course, the Cubs brought over from Miami, put together another strong outing. 3 earned runs throughout 7 innings, 5 Ks, gave up a couple of homers, but that's a fine stat line if your offense is going to come through at Wrigley Field. So 9 straight wins for the Cubs. First time for them doing that since the World Series winning year in 2016. Man, how about it, Adam? These Cubs come through, and they come through for you as well.
Yeah, obviously happy to get them at plus money, as I said before. And, I think you hit the nail on the head when it was the 9 straight wins. If you had to say which one is more improbable or which surprises you more, is it the Cubs winning 9 in a row, or is it the Phillies losing 9 in a row? Because for me, it's actually the latter. I know not a lot of people necessarily expected this type of ceiling for the Cubs, and obviously off to a little bit of a slower start. Now the win streak vaults them well over 500. But the Phillies, the way they're built, falling apart as they are right now, and granted it's early, it's still April. I'm not saying the season's over or anything like that. I mean, hell, they're 9.5 out in the division. Obviously, it's not as bad in the wild card hunt, but still, we're talking about a team that is 8-17, narrowly behind a Mets team that just lost 12 straight. So that between the two does surprise me more. I wouldn't have envisioned this team failing in the way that it is.
No, I would agree with you. I think that's certainly more appalling to see what's happening with Philadelphia. And like you alluded to, like a lot of, maybe not a lot of people, but not as many people were as infatuated with this Philadelphia team. And I wasn't really in that camp. I still think there's a lot of star power there. I think the rotation is fine. Perhaps you take a hit because you lose Ranger Suarez to your Boston Red Sox, but I still pictured them as a playoff team, not necessarily a World Series contender right now. I think last year was their official kind of closing window, but I still think they're a really strong group. And for them to be losing this many games is certainly shocking. So I'm right there with you. The Cubs have enough talent to go on a win streak. And, 9 games isn't obscene, but to think about it on the other side with a competent squad, that is kind of shocking to witness. So
is this team better than the Reds, though? I mean, the Reds obviously had their own winning streak recently. I know, most recently coming off a loss, but these are the two teams that are tied atop the Central right now. Which one do you think? Again, early on, we're 25 games into the year, but which is the scarier team?
The Cubs are still the scarier team to me because they're on this win streak and they're doing a lot of this without any pitching. Like they keep getting injured, which long-term maybe hurts them. And you and I had this caveat, right? They need to make these moves. So let's say hypothetically, they are going to have some acquisitions in the pitching rotation. Then to me, the Cubs are still the cream of the crop of this division. Now, that's not to say the Reds can't just be right up there with them consistently. Cincinnati snuck into the postseason last year. They're a young and up and coming team. Their bar is still set even higher than last year, knowing that they made the postseason. Yeah, I mean, their sights are set on winning this division. I just think the Cubs have a bit more pedigree, veteran experience that will push them there. Again, the big asterisk is, are they going to fill in those pitching voids? And if they do, then the Cubs will get it. But man, the Reds are going to be far from an easy out in any series this year. And man, I mean, Adam, this division in general is just really a compelling watch. And we figured it would be one of the toughest divisions. Now to see Milwaukee at the bottom is kind of funny. And granted, they're 2.5 games out, but the Cardinals are exceeding expectations. A lot of people peg them as potentially being one of the worst teams in baseball. The Pirates, you figured they'd be feisty, but they're finally getting more pitching depth than Paul Skeens, which, again, it's not just an easy out to fade the Pirates if it's not Paul Skeens on the bump. And then with the Brewers, again, maybe they're just, I mean, I always think they're going to regress in general, but they prove me wrong. They'll be fine, but I certainly don't think they're going to be a team that goes anywhere in the postseason. But man, I mean, any team in the Central on any given day, Adam, is not one that you can just easily fade regardless of who the pitching is.
From one Central to another, Fam in the chat asking about Gavin Williams as a dark horse Cy Young candidate. So I was just pulling up the American League odds. Tarek Skubal, who of course is the reigning champion there. Then you have Brian Wu, Jose Soriano, Dylan Cease, Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, who we talked about, Jacob deGrom, George Kirby, Kevin Gausman, all names that are on the board before you get to Gavin Williams of Cleveland at 40-1. Same as Drew Rasmussen, same as Logan Gilbert, same as Framber Valdez, same as Taj Bradley. All of these guys in the vicinity of top 10 on the board. Would you go that far down the board if you were thinking about an early season Cy Young candidate?
So I'll play devil's advocate here with Gavin Williams, fam. If you want to see some numbers that present some concern, is good as his generic just ERA, him being 3-1, 2.12 ERA. That's solid. Heck, you could go to his expected ERA, 3.50, not bad at all. His xFIP is 3.10, so really good all around there. Ground ball rate, 55%, tremendous. He's walking over 5 batters per 9 innings. He has a 20% home run to fly ball ratio. And even more concerning is he has a barrel rate of 14% and a hard hit rate of 48%, which is very, very concerning. So there is, to me, going to be maybe not a huge fall off, but there is going to be some regression for Gavin Williams to the point where, as a 26-year-old, that's fine. For a long term looking to bet on him, I got no qualms with it. But for a long term Cy Young, I don't know if he's worth the investment this early on. I kind of don't want to jump on the hot hand right now. I still kind of need to see him level off and have some constants there. Now, I understand you may lose some value, but because of these numbers, I just don't have enough faith in him so far, Adam. So I would stay away. I haven't really, years past, I've jumped into the Cy Young market a ton more. But I've slowly tried to, restrain myself and wait for a better in-game spot because I really haven't had that much success with futures in the Cy Young department.
Sure.
I mean, Woo's always an appealing candidate over the past few years. Like, that's somebody who has earned my trust. Dylan Cease, I bet him last year, and his underlying numbers were fine, but his numbers that the voters actually look at, no bueno. So I don't really want to take a stab with Cease. Fried, I get any argument there. I mean, he's obviously a stud. And then Schlittler, we just talked about him. I mean, that's a guy whose numbers are remarkable right now. But is that someone who's going to regress? The numbers don't indicate it, but he's a young arm. So I'm not quite too certain there. I would just hold off. I wouldn't even go too far down the list. Certainly wouldn't flirt with Taj Bradley. That guy's a mess waiting to happen. Joe Ryan's going to regress a little bit, but he's a solid arm, not Cy Young worthy. So, yeah, unfortunately, the farthest I would probably go would be to like Jacob deGrom at 30-1. I don't think there's anybody worth flirting with afterwards this early in the year. Oh, we might have lost Adam here with some connection, unless I'm the only one witnessing it. But either way, that's what we're looking at for some of these AL Cy Young numbers. Again, Jacob deGrom at 30-1. Kirby's right there as well. Gossman at 30-1. So a lot of those guys in that same vicinity. And then in the NL conversation, Paul Skeens, shocker, is your short shot at 2-1. Yamamoto plus 320. Christopher Sanchez, who just got blown up today, is at 7-1. Chris Sale, who I did win on a couple years ago, he is at 8-1. Ohtani 11-1. Now, Adam, I think we got you back here, my friend. You're looking a little better. All right. Sure. Let me ask you about this, though, in the NL. Because basically I was saying, if you didn't hear me, that the farthest I'd go is deGrom. Nothing worth betting necessarily. But in the NL.
Real quick before you go to the NL, because I did hear all of that. One thing that I was going to ask you. So Skubal is the two-time defending champion in this department. And he is the favorite by a wide margin, albeit still a plus money, as he should be, at plus 260. But he's got an ERA of 2. He's pitching great, as we know. Outside of that, very first start, he's been excellent. I wonder at what point, we talk about this in the awards market in all sports. We're trying to handicap, again, sorry, it's something in my eye. We're trying to handicap the odds market around human decision, and not just human decision, a committee of people that are voting. It's not just like, I am trying to decipher what Danny Burke specifically is going to do. You're trying to figure out what an entire panel of people are going to do with their votes. And, we talk about voter fatigue all the time, whether or not it's a thing. If Skubal keeps doing what he's doing, and I'm not saying has some otherworldly record-setting pace or something like that, but just keeps, going with the way that he's going. I don't know. At what point do the voters sit there and say, I mean, look, guy was great. And sure, like we could give Shohei Ohtani the MVP every single year. We could give Jokic, the MVP every single year. We're not going to do it. We're not going to give this guy the Cy Young every single year. Or is he another, Roger Clemens type that the guy wins it 7 times? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very important conversation, and it's even more important when it comes to baseball. And as you very well know, and most people who follow the sport, when it comes to the people who are voting in Major League Baseball for these awards or for Hall of Fame, first ballot, whatever it may be, these guys are very much, they're just very strict, right? People like to call them curmudgeons. Like, it's very tightly wound. And that's where I think if it's someone like Skubal and the numbers continue to back it up, I don't think it's going to be a sentimental driven award. I think he could continuously win this. And I think the same could be applied to Paul Skeens potentially. Now, does that mean I'm going to run to the counter and bet these guys? No, not this early and not at that short of a price. But it's certainly not going to catch anybody off guard, of course, if these dudes continue to win. So I think in other sports, yes, absolutely, that's something to be cautious of. Baseball, I would say not as much, just because of how analytically driven it is and because of how much by the book that these voters are. So that would be the thing that I think benefits the consistent stardom outside of in other sports where you get a Jokic who we're like, all right, even though he's statistically the best, we're kind of sick of it. Like, I don't think you're going to get that here in baseball, like you said, i.e. with a Roger Clemens like we've seen in the past.
Can I tell you, by the way, this is like related, unrelated? I was trying to remember how many Cy Youngs Pedro Martinez won while we were just talking about that. And so I didn't even Google Pedro Martinez Cy Young. I Googled like Pedro Martinez stats. And the first thing that pops up is the AI or whatever year by year of his career.
Oh, right.
And I scroll through it real quick and I'm going, when the hell was Pedro Martinez on the Nationals? It has Pedro Martinez on the Nationals from 95 to 97. And I was like, wait a minute. They mean the Expos. The Nationals weren't even a team back then. They moved from Montreal to Washington. But why? This is the problem, kids. This is the problem if you're out there, writing your reports for your class. Don't trust AI just to assume it's got it right. Pedro Martinez was never a Washington National, nor was that franchise even in existence at the time that it says that he pitched for said team. You got to dig deeper. You got to do your research.
Yeah.
But that went through me for a hot second. I was like, wait a minute. And right before the Red Sox, they didn't trade with the Nationals to get the Expos.
About to have an existential crisis. You're like, wait, did I miss what is going on here?
Like, I know I got some, fluid or whatever in the head. I don't feel great, but like, what did somebody slip me to make me think that this is true?
Yeah. Washington Nationals legend Pedro Martinez, just like honestly, we all say all the time, man.
Maybe Tom Brady really was a catcher for the Expos. Hang
on. Oh man. Well, Adam, I do want to pick your brain here on the NL because somebody did text me, one of my buddies, about taking a flyer on Mason Miller. And I can't remember the number he got, but I'm sure it's better because it was a couple weeks ago than what he's at now at 16-1. Is Mason Miller a guy who can actually win this award with the role that he's in? And whether or not he can, I mean, at the price that he's listed at right now, around 16-1, I mean, is it worth taking a flyer on? How are you approaching him?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I understand the guy hasn't given up a run yet across 8 appearances, 11 plus innings. Obviously, the strikeouts are absurd. What's 27 strikeouts in 11 and 2/3 innings? I mean, he's only allowed 2 hits. This is bonkers what he has been doing. But, consider a couple of things. One, he's doing all of this, and he's still not the favorite for the award. He is 16-1. The guy's given up 2 hits, no runs, in almost 12 innings, struck out 27. And he's still at 16-1 behind Paul Skeens, Yamamoto, Christopher Sanchez, Chris Sale, Shohei. Okay, so he's 6th in line in the vote as the odds, have it right now. That's one thing. The other part of it is just consider how difficult it is for relievers to win this award. I mean, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to trust the AI for a second.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah, well, good. Then you can tell me. I won't even bother. When's the last time a reliever won the Cy Young? A long reliever, a closer. Like, I mean, has it happened? It's probably happened since Dennis Eckersley, right? But I can't even remember when that would be. Like, who did it?
You are correct with Dennis Eckersley. It's happened after him. My first, do you have a guess you want to throw out there, or do you want me to just? Because I think you can get it.
Look, a great guess would be like Mariano Rivera, but I don't think it ever.
That's who I thought, but it's not him.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think it ever happened. So, you know who it was? Wasn't it Eric Gagne?
You got it. 2003.
Yeah. And what were his numbers?
The last one. Let's see. I know so the one thing AI gave me was he converted 55 consecutive saves that
He
season.
did, but that didn't. I think it went across multiple seasons. I don't think that was all that year.
Oh, right. That would make sense. Okay. All right. So 2003, he had a 1.20 ERA, 77 games. Oh, it looked like it was in that season. It says
Was it?
55 on Baseball Reference, I guess.
Well,
82
55
innings
saves.
pitched. I guess so, yeah.
Well, no, I mean he could have had 55 saves. It just he didn't convert 57 in a row across one season.
Well, AI thinks at 55 in a row.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. That's again, we're just reading straight from AI. 37 hits, 12 runs, 11 were earned. He only gave up 2 home runs, 20 walks, 137 strikeouts. His FIP was 0.86. His WHIP was 0.69. And yeah, I mean,
so let's see. I'm just pulling up. So all right. So Gagne, he got 91% share of the vote. Dominated. He had 28 first place votes, and then Jason Schmidt was behind him, a well off the pace for second, and then Mark Pryor, and then Russ Ortiz for anyone that remembers him. But Schmidt that year started 29 games, 17-5, 2.34 ERA. Pryor went 18-6, 2.5 ERA for your Cubbies. And then Russ Ortiz for the Braves, almost a 4 ERA, but he led the league with 21 wins. He went 21-7, 34 starts. He was fourth. Barely received a vote, but he was fourth. So Gagne won in a year that there was no truly exceptional starter. So that's something you'd be looking at as well. Mason Miller would have to be obscenely good.
Right. You have to keep on this path at the very least.
He'd have to keep on this path and, like, honestly, be better, arguably. I mean, what were I want to pull up the Cy Young vote last year, because if I remember right, it's not like it was that long ago. Like Aroldis Chapman's numbers, if I'm just thinking about relievers, were absurd. And I don't think he came close.
Chapman got 4 fifth place votes.
Yeah, so listen to this. Aroldis Chapman had a 1.17 ERA, 67 games. He went 5-3, 32 saves, 61 plus innings, 67 games overall. And he was 7th in the vote behind Skubal. Fine. Like I would have given it to Crochet. I think I say that without bias, but fine. It's kind of your almost your like Matthew Stafford, Drake May, flip a coin kind of thing. But Skubal really did dominate. He got 26 first place votes. Crochet got 4. They're the only two guys, that got first place votes. Then you had Hunter Brown, Max Fried, Brian Wu, Carlos Rodon, all before Chapman. And Chapman had one of the great closer reliever seasons, at least in terms of, not save total, but some of the other metrics. So I don't know. Just the fact that he did not sniff the award tells me that you really need kind of a subpar starter year or lesser than starter year and Mason Miller to go nuclear. Like, I don't think you're getting nearly the value on that 16-1. Now, if it was like, if I'm going down the board and I'm looking at just some of the other numbers, not so much the names, like Freddie Peralta's 40-1, Michael King is 50-1, Imanaga is 50-1, Woodruff is 50-1, Glasnow is 50-1. If you told me that Mason Miller was 50-1, I would say, yeah, I would invest in that. That makes sense to me. Even Burns at 30-1, sure, okay, that is a reasonable number for a guy that almost has no chance of winning this award. 16-1, like, I don't know what his preseason number was, but it had to be a hell of a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
I think all the value's been sucked right out of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And that's the first number that came to my mind. I would need at least 50-1 on Mason Miller because You know what this reminds me of? It's comparable to when we're looking at the NFL MVP.
Yeah.
And Saquon Barkley or Bijan Robinson starts going off, and we're like, sure, he should and could win this award, but he's not really going to win it. I mean, he would have to do something out of this world to really warrant winning it. And I think that's what's set for Mason Miller. Now, I would probably argue that Mason Miller has a better chance at winning the Cy Young than a running back in this day and age has to win the NFL MVP, just based on how the voting has been going down.
Historical data. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're right. Like, Mason Miller would have to, again, at the very least, keep doing what he's doing, if not better, which is just so tough to ask for a pitcher to expect out of him, especially with all the injuries we see and with the minimal time these managers are letting them go. Like, who knows if he would even have as many opportunities as a Gagne did in 03 based on how much they may want to rest his arm, and if his team's even good enough to put him in a position to get that many wins. So those are also other factors that you got to take into account. So yeah, at 16-1, I think, again, don't fall for the trap here. And again, if he ends up winning it somehow, and we got clips saying that, I'd stand by that at 16-1. I just don't think it's worth the cost of admission at this point in time.
Yeah, all makes sense. I agree with you.
Yeah, and just really quick down those. I mean, like, I know they're not going to win it, but like an Edward Cabrera for the Cubs, because his underlying metrics are a bit scary. Like him at 70-1, I'd much rather take than Mason Miller. Shota's been playing out of his mind, which is insane based on what we saw last year. He's 50-1. Michael King's always fun to look at. He's high in strikeouts, but again, are the Padres going to be good enough for him at 15-1? And Nolan McLean would be a good look. But I just don't want to touch anything with the Mets in general, because this team is just a nightmare at this point in time. So
agreed. Although I will say, like you brought up the NFL before, a lot of awards, whether voters will admit this or not, are tied to team success. Yeah. You don't see that as much in baseball. You can have for instance, you can have a guy who is, especially a rookie, who is exceptional on a shit team and still win Rookie of the Year, because again, it's such an individual sport when it comes to performance and stats and just the way in which the game is played, quite frankly. It's why, like, Paul Skeens was the Rookie of the Year before the guy even stepped foot on a Major League Baseball diamond. You just knew it didn't matter how bad Pittsburgh was going to be. He was going to be incredible, and he was going to win the award. Red Sox, by the way, second inning have taken a lead on the Yankees, just to let you know. If if you were on the Red Sox at plus money, good on you. You got the best of the number. But if you do believe in the Yankees, now you're getting an opportunity to jump in at a more reasonable number than it was pre-flop.
Yeah, it's a good point. Again, the market did seem like it was trending toward Boston, but the Yankees bats have been so hot, especially the last week. So plenty of game to go. Bottom two, Red Sox up 1-0. Looks like a runner on second with 2 outs, just for my update here. So that'll be a good one to keep track on. Adam, do you want to, before we get into, I know you kind of talked about it a little bit. Is there anything more you wanted to talk about your system betting with an update, or did you want to start hitting some of tonight's slate?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an update because it's been a couple weeks since we've talked about it, just to, we don't need to dissect it, but just to let you know kind of how it's been going. So it started off very poorly, like alarmingly poorly, not to the point where it was, I'm gonna jump off the ride or something like that, because we talked about this the very first time that we talked about doing this back. This began, the streak play began on March 30th. So we are, a few weeks into this at this point in time, and I have not taken a day off. Even when I was, on vacation in the Virgin Islands, I was having someone stateside place the bets for me, because I didn't want to screw up the data. I wanted to be loyal to what we were doing. But to give you an idea of how bad this got very quickly, I was, and to let people know, for anyone that has not been part of this conversation, again, blind betting streaks of at least 3 straight wins or 4 straight losses, $25 plays, flat unit, doesn't matter the juice to an extent. If it's north of minus 200, then I might try and do things a certain way, like, an SGP, win the first 5, win the game, that kind of thing, take the number inside minus 200, or I put less on it, that kind of thing.
Right.
But in a very general sense, the rules are pretty easy to follow. And I'm just looking back at my numbers here, Danny, and within 2 weeks of doing this, week and a half, 2 weeks, I was down 20 units. Not great. Not great at all. But again, no days off. We stay on the roller coaster ride, and it ebbs and flows. Fortunately, I continued while I was on that vacation, because had I not, I would not have picked up, I think it was 6 or 7 units while I was away. So right now, up to the minute tally, let me see. I'll do the quick math for you, including your cubbies this afternoon. We've got
I'm excited to hear how much you made from the Mets alone.
I haven't tracked it by team, unfortunately. But yes, I mean, obviously those are instances where one team can make a lot back for you. But I went from, now, mind you, this started terribly. Like the first 2 days, I was like 1-7 or some crazy number. So maybe even worse than that. So I have never been positive. I want to note that. I have never been positive. I started negative and playing catch up right out of the chute. The worst it got was down 20 units, like I said. And it looks like right now I am down about 5.5.
Ooh.
So
let's go.
Again, we like as teams have either gotten hot or gotten cold, depending on which one you're rooting for or against. And obviously, if the Yankees can pull this one out, that'll take me back to, I don't know, roughly 5 without actually doing the math. But it has been a good couple of weeks of trend betting, and just need to keep it going. Need to keep trending toward the positive. Today was by far the shortest card that I have had. Had only two plays, Cubs money line and Yankees money line, because coming into the day, as I'm sure you noticed, there were only 3 teams across all of baseball that fit the criteria for a trend bet. And that was the Yankees against the Red Sox, and it was the Phillies against the Cubs. But the Phillies and Cubs, again, were going head to head. So, that you only get one play out of that. I'm not doubly investing. So, takeover and beats is similar to any given wager this year. Bad start, but then everyone cooked from there. Holy. Well, look, let's hope. Remember, I don't even know how many plays we're going to have. It's going to be a lot, obviously. Let's see. I think roughly 150 plays in already.
Man.
And we are not even a month into the season. So there are going to be a lot of plays, obviously. And excited to, keep you and everybody else up to date on it as we go along.
No, I love tracking it, and it's obviously fantastic, plus 15 units in your favor from being down 20. And we knew this going in. You talked about it. We understand that with trends, it's kind of inevitable for that to occur, especially at the start of the season in a sport like baseball with such a big sample size that it would level off at some point if this is going to prove to be a viable strategy, which now, hopefully, for your sake, of course, that it's trending in that direction. And I will say this too, Adam, and I'm glad that we're tracking this along and that I get to talk to you about it a lot, because I've found myself now where it's not that I'm completely going away from this angle, but a lot of times I will put a lot of emphasis on teams that, again, and I've talked about it with you, where it's like you're facing a sweep at home. You've lost 3 in a row, and maybe it's the 4th at home, and you're at home and you're going to get swept in 4 games. Like, I like to look at the angle for that team to bounce back, even though the numbers may say, hey, the streaking team is the better team, all these things. But now I've caught myself being a little bit more hesitant on, or maybe just putting less emphasis on that narrative and handicapping approach, just seeing from talking to you how much you are still winning with these streaky bets and how often that can still come to fruition. it's kind of like the fallacy of you're playing roulette, right? Where it's just like red, 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 red. And you're like, well, eventually it has to be black. Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to work that way. So, no, I'm glad that we've been updating it because it has changed my strategy a little bit too, where I've kind of been like, well, just hold off a tad because this is certainly possible. So it's no question helped me along the way as well. And I'm excited to see what happens in the next month too. Like you said, I mean, we're not even a month in and you've already had such a big swing. So it's going to be electric to see what kind of path you go down when we talk a month from now, when I'm sure you'll have a close to 500 plays at that point. That's going to be crazy to see the total amount also that you have by the end of the season.
One thing I've thought about doing, and I probably won't, and these opportunities come across so few and far between anyway, but a great example would be while I was away, the Dodgers and Rockies played each other, and it was a 4-game series, and I don't know about every game, but maybe 3 of the games, like basically every game, the Dodgers weren't just favored. They were like minus 300 favorites or some, insane number. And I looked at that, and going into that series, the Dodgers were on a winning streak. And so I did a smaller play. I think it was, Dodgers first 5, Dodgers full game. The juice was still crazy, minus 180, 190, something like that. And so I just put $10 on it as opposed to the 25, just for the sake of keeping, streak betting trends active, all that stuff. And again, I'm documenting all this stuff on my sheet, but I looked at it and I thought, it's still baseball. It's still such a very, just a game filled with variance.
Right.
And this number is ridiculous. Like no team should ever be a minus 3 whatever favorite. Minus, you shouldn't be seeing like minus 2.5 on the run line for minus 110. Like that is like this. That's like college numbers. Like that should not exist in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, and of course I didn't do this, but I was like, I should flip my approach to this series on its head completely. And for all of these games, instead of what I would be doing, $25 on the favorite just to win, what I should be doing is $25 on the Rockies as a significant dog all 4 games. Just to, what? If they get swept, they get swept. But even if you take 1 out of the 4, you're probably, because of how big that number is, making up for the other 3 losses. Because you're getting, I don't know, plus 250 or something like that on the money line. And as it turned out, I think they split. I think the Rockies took 2 out of 4 against the Dodgers. And so, again, had I done it, I didn't. But that would have been a very profitable situation, just betting against the Dodgers because the number was dumb.
I mean, these Dodgers prices, I oftentimes, Adam, I just look at it and because when you see even a good pitching matchup in any other situation, it stands out. And I go, I know I'll have to bet the run line. The money line's going to be egregious, but that's fine. The one time I wanted to bet the Dodgers, it was like every book was painting 2.5 on the run line. And I'm like, what? This isn't worth it. Like, sure, they'll probably end up winning, but it's like you said, there's so much variance in baseball. Anything could happen. And yeah, I'd much rather kind of take on that strategy than consistently laying the juicy run line with the Dodgers. But that's fascinating. I'd be interested to kind of follow that along too. But again, it's the fun opportunities that are presented when you get a sport like baseball where you're getting 162 games played for every single team across about a 6-month span. So plenty to work with in terms of variance.
Do you want to mention, by the way, Danny, again, the Red Sox bottom 3 at Fenway are leading the Yankees 1-0, but you had mentioned a while ago that Adam Rosenberg liked Peyton Tolley as a Rookie of the Year. What'd you say that number was? Like 60-1?
I believe it was 60-1, yeah. So
Peyton Tolley right now has thrown, this is his first appearance of 2026. He has thrown 39 pitches, 3 innings of hitless baseball, and he has struck out 6. flamethrower right now against the Yankees here in this game.
I thought you were going to say that his number was already like chopped in half or something, like 30 to 1.
I mean,
it might be, honestly, after the start if he holds up.
Yeah, I mean it's probably because he's pitching off the board.
Yeah.
No, actually I'm looking. It's there. It is 40 to 1 right now.
Interesting.
So 60 to 1 to 40 to 1. I don't know if it was still 60 to 1 pregame or not, or if all that movement has come in game, but still, it practically been chopped in half off of what Rosenberg gave it to you at.
Yeah. And look,
3 innings of baseball.
Yeah. And I mean, and like a huge spotlight game against the Yankees.
Yeah.
Winners of 5 in a row. Red Sox are struggling. I mean, yeah, that just public sentiment alone will probably push us down. If he, again, has a good start, they get the win to like 25 to 1. Wouldn't shock me just based on how often these markets overreact. But again, I mean, he's a very viable candidate. Would make a lot of sense. So, yeah, Red Sox up 1-0. Bottom of the third, 1 out. 9-15 the Red Sox sit at. Yankees on a hot streak right now, 15-9, looking to cash Adam's wager for the streak bet and get their 6th consecutive win. Adam, we got about 10 minutes left, my friend, and we got a couple games to hit on. So let's talk about those aforementioned New York Mets who finally snapped their 12-game losing streak. They won 3-2 against the Twins last night. The Twins have dropped their last 4 out of 5 games. A rubber match in this series taking place in about 20, 30 minutes or so. Twins anywhere from about a -110 to -115 favorite. Another short total here, 7 in the hook. Wind's blown in a bit, 10 miles per hour from left center field. Perfect day there, 71 degrees out in New York. You got Joe Ryan and Christian Scott. Christian Scott played in Major League Baseball last year, 9 starts, had a 4.56 ERA and a 4.71 xFIP, though. Low ground ball rate. Skill interactive ERA wasn't impressive at 4.48. In AAA this year, he only went 13.2 innings in 3 starts, 5.27 ERA. Low ground ball rate of 33%. xFIP a little bit better than the ERA at 4.10, but not the most assuring numbers per se. Joe Ryan on the other side, 5 starts this year, 3.29 ERA, solid FIP at 2.45. He's not producing a lot of ground balls, but he's really limiting the home run damage, just 3% home run to fly ball ratio, striking out a good amount of batters in terms of walks, 21% strikeout to walk ratio. His 2 worst starts this year have been on the road. Again, he's only got 5 starts, though. This is such a gross matchup, though, Adam, and the Mets are dead to me because they killed our parlay 2 nights ago. I took the bait. I laid the run line with them when they were up 3-0, and they lost. They blew the lead, and naturally, they win the next night to snap the streak because that's how betting goes, of course. I would lean toward Minnesota. I just have no confidence in them whatsoever. I mean, Joe Ryan's clearly the better pitcher. Sure. The Mets are dead last in every batting metric since the start of April, but the Twins are pretty darn bad in their own right. So I have a strong lean toward Minnesota, but I've got nothing official. How about you?
I don't have anything official. If I was going to play something, it would be Minnesota first 5. And leaning in on Joe Ryan just being Joe Ryan and being the better pitcher. Because like you said, while the numbers have not been incredible this year, they've still been, better than most around baseball. And on top of that, you've got Scott, who's untested on the other side and, did pitch last year, as you said, didn't pitch particularly well. And you can still get a reasonable number. Minnesota first 5 is just one book I'm looking at. So it could be better elsewhere, but it's inside -130. So maybe you get a -120, -125 somewhere else. That's a good number, for a team that one has the superior starter, at least on paper, and 2 lineups that honestly stink. So why can't he be the one that goes out and is superior to to the other over the first 5? I like that for Minnesota. I will say, did you I know this was, part of some of our text threads yesterday. Did you see the FanDuel promotion about investing in the Mets pregame yesterday ahead of their losing streak? And that if anyone, the way it was billed on social media was, you bet on the Mets money line and no matter what, you win, because if the bet wins, you win. And if the bet loses, we'll refund you in bonus bets. It was basically like you can't lose on the Mets
No,
because
I
they
didn't
hurt
see
you so
that.
badly. But what I didn't get any clarity on, what I couldn't find in any sort of fine print, I didn't see anybody talking about it, in just general social media discourse or discords that I'm in or anything like that. There had to be a max allowable wager on that for you to receive bonus bets back. And I wasn't back stateside yet, so I couldn't really investigate. I was still over in the islands, so I couldn't, excuse me, check all that myself. But because like why wouldn't you put $5,000 on the Mets, to win? If like, so what if I lose, you're gonna give me bonus bets? Like it's all the same thing, ultimately. But yeah, I don't know. By the way, that number has moved from -128 to -132 on the Twins' first five. So some of you out there among the $5,000 watching, listening live jumped on this first five and started to shift this thing a little bit. I see you. I see what you're doing.
I like that angle too about the first five. That makes a lot of sense because again, the Twins are again in a better position because of the starting pitcher right now. It's not because of anything their offense or bullpen is capable of. So if they're gonna blow this one away, it certainly could come in the latter portion of this game tonight. So Adam and I both leaning first five with the Minnesota Twins as they take on the New York Mets after the Mets finally snap their losing skid of 12 games. We'll see who could claim the rubber match out on the East Coast. All right, let's go to the Lone Star State. The Rangers and Pirates first pitch scheduled for 8:05 p.m. Eastern time. Rubber match in this one. Rangers took the first game 5-1. Then the Pirates won last night 8-4. Rangers are sizable favorites here, about -160 or above on the money line. Another short total at 7 in the hook. Bubba Chandler, the right-hander, taking the bump for the Pirates in 4 starts this year. He's got a 3.15 ERA, but an alarming expected ERA of 4.56 and an xFIP of 4.91. And even more concerning is he's walking almost 6 batters per 9 innings pitched, and he's got less than a 5% strikeout to walk ratio. So I feel like a lot of people are going to look at that and go 3.15 ERA. Come on now. But no, his numbers are terrifying all around for Bubba Chandler. Texas on the other side. We talked about Cy Young, Jacob deGrom in that 30-1 range. 4 starts this year, 19.2 innings pitched. He's got a 2.29 ERA, a higher xFIP, but not too shabby at 3.48. Tremendous left on base percentage of 95%. Low ground ball rate, which is really bad, but you got to figure deGrom will get that up. It's at 25.5%. Right around average for home run damage at 10%, home run to fly ball rate. Good whip, good strikeout to walk ratio, 25%. Pirates top 10 in OPS and weighted runs created plus against righties this season, or this month, pardon me. Rangers 6th in ISO against righties this month, 11th in OPS and weighted runs created plus. So a slight offensive advantage to Texas, definitely a pitching advantage. At least I see it that way toward the Rangers. I didn't bet it, but if I did, I would very much so be on the side of the Rangers run line. And perhaps the reason I didn't bet it, Adam, is because I still have yet to win a bet on a Thursday, which is actually insane. I'm going to have a more impressive streak than the New York Mets. Yeah, I don't think because I was gone last week, so I didn't do it. 2 weeks before I lost, I already bet the Diamondbacks, who blew every opportunity today against the White Sox. Ended up, it was 1-1 going into the 9th, gave up a 3-run jack with an out. So again, I may just stay away if anybody else likes to run line or just fade me in that capacity. But we're still doing okay overall. We're still up about 10. Well, now we're going to be up like 9.5 units. But just ignore me on Thursdays or fade me. But I would strongly consider the Rangers run line in this spot.
Yeah, I like the Rangers. I'd probably be more willing to just drink the juice and play the money line and not chase the run line, especially for a team that's playing at home and losing the opportunity of having those final outs in the 9th, like we've, talked about before. If it comes down to that, let's say it's a, tie game going into the bottom of the 9th, and, what are the chances they win by 2 versus winning by 1 in that situation? So, and never mind extra innings if, ghost runners and all that stuff. So it's a lot of juice. Again, it's -160, maybe worse, depending on where you look, but I still would like that. Or, what I would consider is maybe a Rangers first 5, which is even more juice, by the way. That's like -185. But then pair that with the full, which you could get at, let me see. You could take that down to minus 136. Rangers win the first 5. Rangers win the game. So, get the money line out of, or the run line out of there at albeit plus money, but do it that way, and you get something that's right around minus 135. I think that's intriguing.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Again, a large part of this handicap is, as with any handicap, is the starting pitchers, but even more so for this one specifically, my lack of faith in Bubba Chandler and just thinking that he's going to regress. And Rangers bats are heating up at a nice time. So they're going to get going. It's got to happen early and take advantage against a weak pitcher who is inevitably due for that regression in Bubba Chandler. So don't hate that approach whatsoever, my friend.
I know we got to wrap. I'm just looking real quick at the Friday card.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next, if for the streak betting and whatever else you like.
Well, so the streak betting I haven't even looked at yet. I'll figure that out in a few hours after everything settles today. But the Mets are minus 225 at home against the Rockies. I mean, isn't that again just a spot where you're tempted to take Colorado just because of the absurd plus money? Like Colorado's basically plus 2-1 against a crappy Mets team, or do you just go over 7.5 expecting to get runs?
Well, so that's funny because the first thing that popped in my head actually was thinking, wow, that's kind of a cheap price on the Mets against the Rockies. But I'm looking at some of these numbers right now. Michael Lorenzen looks like he's going to start 7.48 ERA, 5.74 expected, 4.50 xFIP. So he's not as bad as a 7.48 ERA.
Sure.
Still not a great arm, though, by any stretch of the imagination. Peralta on the other side, 4.05 ERA, 3.89 expected. So he should be better, 3.79 xFIP. But he's given up some home runs, ground ball rate of 40%. It'll be interesting to see where this moves based on how this game goes. If the Mets lose tonight, I would actually be more tempted to, actually, I don't want to say that because I kind of would like the momentum of the Mets getting a couple wins in a row here.
Sure.
But I get your point completely because the Rockies have proven to be feisty. So I definitely understand that. I just, even though they pissed me off, I still have this picture of this Mets team being a very solid group, which on paper they are in my head. So them only being minus $2 against the Rockies who are kind of falling back down to earth now with a poor pitcher on the bump. That's where I would tend to go the other way. And the Rockies, what did they blew the lead today, I think, right? Yeah, they were up like 8-4, 8-6 and lost 10-8 to the Padres. And now you got to travel the East Coast. I don't know. Just blindly, I would lean toward the Mets, but I get your point.
Yeah.
Based on the price.
Just Rockies about. Yeah. Just sort of scanning the card, seeing what we got available to us.
Yeah, we'll see if the Cubs get put in their place this weekend. They're traveling to the West Coast to take on the Dodgers, and they got Ty on tomorrow, so the Cubs could just absolutely get pummeled this weekend. The Red Sox-Orioles series, that will actually be pretty interesting too. The Orioles have been a tough team to get a read on because I think they're better than the record indicates. We'll see who can take advantage. Rays will be in a good position against the Twins this weekend. See if the Phillies can do anything. I mean, the Braves have been incredible, so Phillies may just be down in the dumps continuously as we move on. And yeah.
You have anything on the NBA card tonight?
You know, I had a bunch of props
starting in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with the side. I am curious your thoughts though, because you know me, like I'm always all over the props, so I'm just kind of spread out there. In terms of a side, do you have anything you like with this Knicks and Hawks game? Because I kind of want to lean Hawks, but I don't know if I'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I felt the Hawks were going to win this series going in. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think I officially, like on Twitter, posted Knicks in 7 or something like that. I think what I said was the Hawks are very live to win this series. And I felt that way. I continue to feel that way. And how could you not? Obviously, we're looking at 1-1 right now. Mm-hmm. Yankees, by the way, bases loaded. I don't know. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em. It's incredibly efficient. I think for as the glare is getting me now. The islands are pacing me down, Danny. I think it's very reasonable to look at it and say, yeah, I think the the Hawks are going to win, the Knicks are going to win. Like whichever side you're on, I think makes sense. I've seen a lot of people all over Josh Hart props tonight. Whether it's assists or rebounds. I don't have a good, like neither outcome in terms of the winner is going to surprise me. Totally got out of it with a strikeout, by the way. So I don't, it's going to keep those odds moving for our buddy Rosenberg. Let's see what we got.
That is funny you mentioned Hart because I think I did take his rebounds and assists over 12.5. So that was one of the ones I took. Just to rifle off some other. I took Naz Reid over 9.5 points, laid some juice. Jokic over 28.5 when that was there earlier, but I still think he gets 30 plus. Jordan Clarkson over 7.5 PRA, incredibly low. Mitchell Robinson over 6.5 boards. That's a little dicey. He's volatile, but just as a big body, I'm out of principle kind of taking a look at that. And I think I took Jamal Murray under his PRA, which I believe is at 40.5 now. I like that look. I think that's all I had prop wise. Maybe Donovan Mitchell over 2.5 threes, but now that's like minus $150. Yeah, but man, I wish I had more conviction in these sides because there's going to be a great look in at least 2 out of 3 of these games where one of these, they're just cruise. I feel like, and I just don't know who because I never bet sides.
Right.
But yeah. That's all I'll be sweating out. How about you? You got any props or kind of just monitoring it as it goes?
No, I think just, kind of a re-entry from vacation to kind of monitor these first couple of games and, get in front of them a little bit more and see what we come up with. But no, nothing crazy.
No, I hear you. But should be one of the better nights for the NBA postseason. There have been some duds, but with a few like sprinkled in good ones here and there. But all these are narrow spreads. So we should have ourselves a fun night in store on this Thursday evening, not only on the diamond, but on the hardwood. He is Adam Kaufman, ladies and gentlemen, at Adam M. Kaufman, where you can catch him on the tweets. For myself, at Danny Burke 5 in the Betting News Network. Don't forget to follow along at Your Betting News. We will be back in the mix tomorrow, right? Are we back according to schedule for any given wager, or are we not?
The two of us have any given wager. We won't have SPJ tomorrow, but we will be on 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see. Maybe we'll find a guest. Maybe it'll be just the two of us. Maybe it'll just be us interacting with the chat. It's all available to us. Whatever we decide to do.
Beautiful. Well, you know what to look forward to, folks in the chat. Appreciate you chiming in and hanging around.
An hour of Rossini and Vrabel talk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can absolutely bank on that. There's no doubt we will be dipping our toes into the Rossini and Vrabel conversation. So until then, my dog is going crazy per usual.
Your dog's ready to go out.
Yeah, she's like, it's eating time. It's 6 o'clock Central. She's like, what are we doing, Dad? So that's gonna put a bow on it for another edition of Off the Bump. Appreciate you, folks. Best of luck with your wagers. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? Down in the
Now I know y'all be loving this shit right here. What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Down in the rolling.
What you gonna do? Right, y'all be loving this shit.
What you know about